and she's a naturopathic doctor that's going to be sharing some really incredible information. Make sure that you do me a favor and share this out, share it out to all of your friends and family, and let's get a bunch of people on here. So stay with us, and we will be right back. See you in a minute. And we are back. Let me bring Dr. Randi on. Randi, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here, Ken. I love where you live. It's just so beautiful, and you're looking great and healthy. And we're going to keep working on that. So grateful that you have me on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so great to have you on. And you're in Miami, which is in the top 5, maybe top 3 favorite cities in the world. I love Miami. So look, I started this show, gosh, next month or no, April, it'll be 5 years. I can't even believe that. And really it was, when I started this, it was to help people, including myself, have a breakthrough in life. And that's happened for me, at least. And I know it's happened for a lot of other people. So why don't you start with telling everybody where you were born and raised?
Well, even though I live in beautiful Miami, it's probably my favorite city in the world. And I've been all over the place, but you can't take the farm out of the girl, actually. I'm from Iowa. I was born and raised there, and, did move out for different sections of life, I guess, if you will, in Illinois and Pennsylvania. And then I've lived all over the country. But once I came to Miami, I just fell in love, and this has been home for a long time now.
So you are a Midwest girl.
Yes. And
So
I came
am
here
I.
with values. Yes.
I'm from Ohio, so I get it. Cornfields and cows. And actually, I spent a month in Des Moines one night.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I mean, I was like, what do you guys do for fun around here? Like, it's interesting. I did actually spend a whole month in Des Moines for this training program, but Iowa's very interesting. I'll tell we'll go off topic for a minute, but I remember driving, what's the main interstate that runs all the way across the state?
Interstate 80.
80. So I'm driving across 80 and I'm with a manager of this company I'm with, and we're driving hours and hours and hours across the state. And there are triple trailer semis blown over on the like blown over because the wind is so intense in Iowa.
It's not that way every day, but it definitely has its moments for sure.
Yeah.
You must have been in one of those storms where they had the straight line 90-mile-an-hour deals.
Yeah. They're intense, but it's a beautiful state, and I have other friends from there. So you grew up in Iowa. Is that where you went to school, high school? And
no, I went to high school out in Pennsylvania, and I went to my junior high years and some of my elementary in Illinois. So kind of all over the place. My dad was an executive working his way up the ranks, and so it kind of moved us around. And I was mad about it actually at the time, but now I love it because it gave me that zest for life and wanting to go to new places and travel and learn and be immersed in other cultures. So I really do love it.
When you what part of Pennsylvania were you in?
Harrisburg, suburb of Harrisburg.
Oh yeah, okay. The is capital, isn't it? Is Harrisburg the capital?
It's Philadelphia.
Oh, it's Philadelphia.
Cut this, edit that. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Oh God. Well, anyway, so you've been all over then, Illinois, Is that where did you graduate high school?
In Pennsylvania. Yeah.
In Pennsylvania. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So where did things go after you graduated high school? Where did things go for you from there?
Well, I actually got married and had kids kind of early on.
Okay.
And, uh, he passed away. I remarried, had two more sons. So I have four sons. They're all grown
Wow.
now in their 20s and 30s at this point. And
Wow.
from there, that's where I kind of traveled around the country, and I had made a trip here for business and fell in love with it. And so planted my feet right here. And the kids love it. So,
Right in Miami.
mhm,
And
yes,
how long ago was that?
about 2005. So
Oh,
I've been here.
wow. So you've been there a while,
Yeah.
almost 20 years.
Mhm.
Wow.
Still go to the beach, still do not wear sunscreen. A lot of people would tell me, "Oh, that's taboo, you got to," but I don't. And,
Yeah.
I'm 55, very healthy, have no skin issues. So
Wow.
I'm happy. I love my life here. I love the ocean.
I don't wear sunscreen either.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of bad chemicals in that.
yeah, I do not disagree with that at all. So when you so did you go to college?
I did do college, and then I went on to naturopathic school.
Okay.
And that was a 3 year school out of
Wow.
Indiana, Trinity Natural School, or School of Natural Medicine. And I did that for 3 years and became a naturopathic doctor. Of course, I lived a whole life in between that.
Yeah.
And I actually was in business prior. I was in marketing and sales,
Wow.
and just was not happy where I was with that. And I wanted a change in life, and health was always a passion for me. So ever since I was a little kid, and there was something that happened to me as a little kid that kind of formed where I actually ultimately have ended up today.
You literally just went down the path I was getting ready to take.
Okay.
So because I almost always bring this up. There's I find it curious that it seems that there's always an event or a person or people, something in childhood that pushes us in the direction that we go as adults.
Hmm.
And I was getting ready to say, what comes to mind for you when I say that?
Well, when I was a kid, and I did not know that this was going to ultimately be where I am today, but when I was a little kid, I went to the doctor, and I had a very specific, he was a general practitioner, but when I
Right.
went in, you know how they take the little popsicle stick and they put it on top of the tongue, and
Yep.
they hold the tongue down and say, go, ah. So they're looking at your tonsils. Well, this particular doctor did it a little bit different. He actually looked at my tongue. And the general practitioners don't do that anymore. But back then, he looked at my tongue, and then he had a series of questions for my mom,
Hmm.
and she answered them. And we removed a bunch of things out of the diet, which at the time was a lot of sugars, Kool-Aid, popsicles, soda was a biggie back in those days. So
Yep.
that all got removed. Grandma's candy bar or candy jar got removed. I was no longer allowed in it. And so then my infections stopped. And once,
Right.
yeah, so that was just like some minor changes. And it was all from something he saw in the tongue. And so fast forward into life, never did I think that I would be an expert at analyzing that one day. But after I went to school for being a naturopathic doctor, learning how to become one, outside of that, I found when I did my clinicals that I was very good at that and looking at the face and the fingernails. And I decided this is a niche that I really love. And because I was good at it, I took it and catapulted it. So that's what I do.
So there's my buddy Debbie Bettendorf, who has a great show that you should be on as well.
Okay, good.
Um, so okay, so okay, and Tom Chenault introduced us. I love Tom. Thank you,
Hmm.
Tom, for introducing us. So how my sister's a nurse practitioner, right?
Okay.
If I called my sister and I said, you need to start studying people's tongues and fingernails um, to form a proper diagnosis, she'd probably hang up on me.
Yeah, most in that realm would.
Right.
What I
What
do oh, go ahead.
what is it that is so extremely different? Because it seems pretty extreme, the difference. I just was at the doctor not too long ago with a severe headache, and they determined it was viral. I think it might be related to diet. I don't know, but um, what is I don't even know how to ask this. How did you determine that there's this huge disconnect in the medical world?
Well, if you look at what I do is 5,000-year-old original medicine. And the MDs and that system has only been around really since about the early 1900s. So they are the actual alternative medicine. They love to label what I do as alternative, but it's actually the opposite.
Wow.
So what I do has never been debunked. And after I got out of school, I went and worked with a doctor who did this on a regular basis. He came highly recommended. He's now retired. And I worked with 3 trauma ER doctors and doctors of veterinary medicine, a couple of them, one in parasitology. So I honed in all of my skills. And,
Wow.
I look at it like this. We are like the rings of a tree. If you take that tree and you
Yep.
cut it in half, you can see if that tree's been exposed to fire or pestilence or flood.
Right.
Our faces, our fingernails, and our tongues tell a story as well. But the story in our bodies, which nobody is aware of, and this should have been taught as a very young age, so that we could recognize what was going on and why we're suffering, why you have those migraines, etc. Uh, our faces, fingernails, and tongues are all full of organs. They actually show in those locations on our body. And I've just become an expert reader at that. So I can look at you, for example, and I'm not going to do that right now, but I can look at you and look at the top and bottom of your tongue. I'll look at your face at a couple different ways, and I'll
Yeah.
look at your fingernails, and I'm going to know, does he have osteoporosis? Does he have a liver issue, a spleen, a kidney? Yeah, is there a small intestine issue, a large intestine issue? I mean, it just goes on, and it's different for each location.
And then okay, so let's say that you diagnose somebody and you go, "Hey, you've got a small intestine issue." Is it go see a surgeon? Is that the next step, or is it let's look at your diet? Is it what are the next steps if you find something like that?
It's never go to a surgeon. I'm really against cutting, and I'm really against prescription drugs of any kind. And the reason that I'm against those is
Wow.
because even if they do one good thing, they're going to harm 4 or 5 other organs. And that kind of information is not out there. It's not published, or if it is, you got to go dig for it. And
Yeah.
it should be told to you immediately. So what I do is remove the toxins out of the diet, and then we put the things into the body that it needs. So, and it's not a diagnosis, because uh, as a naturopath, you're not allowed. It's just crazy the way the laws are in this country, but you're not allowed to diagnose, treat, or prescribe. Well,
Oh,
I don't do any of that, but I can look at a face and go, oh, hey, uh, there's your small intestine. That needs a little bit of support. So I can say it like that, and we are allowed to observe things and call it out and see what we see. That's your God-given right. So
right.
I don't take my cues from an organization that says what I do is alternative when I know it was original. So
Wow.
I have that free will, and I can look at you and see exactly what is going on, and I call it out.
I absolutely love that. I love the fact that you're the only person ever in the history of my life that I've heard say what you just said. Like, current medicine is actually alternative. What I do is 5,000 years old.
Exactly.
That blows my mind because I've never heard anybody say that. That's incredible.
Yeah. And it's true. And I go into every client appointment that way. And so, just in the last 24 hours, I had people, and this is what happens when the medical community gets a hold of them. And listen, there is a place, I'm not saying there isn't. In an emergency situation where it's life or death, I'm not the person you call. You do call 911 or you get to the ER. That's
Right.
where you go. Okay.
Right.
But when the medical community is done with somebody, they'll say, well, you've got like 3 weeks left to live. Go home and get your affairs in order. I'm the person that says, I still have hope. So in the last 24 hours, I've had 2 liver failure clients come to me where the medical community was done with them, and 1 pancreas where they just want to remove these organs and have them be on a transplant list. I say, let's fight for that organ, because if you lose that liver, here's what happens. If you lose the liver and they give you a new one, for the rest of your life, you're on an anti-rejection medication.
Wow.
So, right. And so what does
Wow.
that mean? People don't understand what that really means. What that really means is, it's basically, in layman's terms, it's tricking the brain to not get rid of that foreign object that you just put in the body. It's not your liver. So your body, your brain is being told, don't reject that, keep it. So what happens is you can never build your immune system up ever again to fight all the other things that are going on in your body.
Wow.
So, right. So let's say you now have kidney failure. You can't build up your kidneys to save them because you're boosting your immune system in that moment. And therefore the liver is going to get rejected.
Wow.
Right. So they're in a quandary. Anybody who had an organ replaced and that is on an anti-rejection med, it's a bad spot to be in. So I say, fight for the organ. Let's save it. And that's where I come in. I am that hope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about, I'm going to ask you some questions that might, don't get mad at me.
Okay.
I've never had anybody get mad at me on here, by the way.
There's always a first. Let's go.
I know, right? But what about the look, I think that big pharma is can't stand it. My wife is watching, by the way. She's on here and we're on that same page. What about that world, the medical community, that says, hey, you need this drug, you need this prescription, take this, and everything will be all right. And that community, I would imagine, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, I would imagine they call you all kinds of fun names.
Yes, they don't like me. I've had friends that were in that field during this whole, last 3 years that we've gone through, and we really butted heads, and that's okay. We're allowed to have differing opinions.
Yeah.
And I'm not about poking the bear. I just state it as I see it.
Right.
So, yeah.
How do you handle that? I mean, when you've got, okay, let's say that I'm seeing an MD and he says, you need surgery. I have an aortic aneurysm and abdominal, right? And he says, which this surgeon did say that to me. He's like, oh, we're going to cut a 1-foot incision on your left side. And I'm going to go in and we're going to clamp it off and cut it and put in fake material and you'll be good as new. And I'm thinking, dude, I'm only 54 years old. What, are there alternatives? And he goes, yeah, death. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, there's got to be something else. So, if you have a patient come to you, like me, for example, with that situation, that I mean, we've been so programmed by media and everything else and commercials and billboards and to believe that's the way to go. And what you are saying is like way opposite of what we've been programmed to believe, right? I mean, I'm not making stuff up. This is all true.
Correct.
How do you handle that with somebody that's so ingrained in the programming that it's called cognitive dissonance, right? They're so programmed, they believe that that is the only way. How do you handle that?
Okay, well, there are people that I let, because it's what they are asking for, it's what they want. Uh, if they want to go off the cliff, I let them. There's nothing I can do to get in the way of their decision.
Yeah.
There are certain people in my life that I can manhandle, so I'll give an example of that. If my sons had any kind of a cancer, let's say,
Yeah.
and the medical community told them, you need to get a chemotherapy,
Yeah.
I would probably lock them in a room and force feed my nutrients and make all their meals so that we healed them naturally. And it's
Mm,
not me doing it. So they couldn't, the boards and the FDA and all that could never get me on my words of I cured somebody, because I actually firmly believe I don't cure people. What I
mm,
believe is that the nutrients are what the body is screaming for, and then that's what ends up healing a person. So when you bombard the body with certain specific nutrients, and I'm a very aggressive naturopathic doctor, so I give a lot to a person who's in a dire strait, for example,
right.
then the body, you're the general marching out the order, and the body cannot ignore that order. So if, let's say, the spleen is in trouble, we're going to give a baseline of nutrients, but then we're going to super target the spleen, and we're going to make sure it has what it needs so that it calms down and it gets back to work, because that's so important to our whole body function. And a lot of doctors will take that out. Well, they're taking out the organ that filters the toxins out of the blood. So why would we want to lose that? So we don't want to lose it. We want to save it.
Okay, what about okay, another question that I think is logical. What if somebody comes to you that has already had their spleen removed?
Okay. Yeah, there's things that we have to do where we focus on the lymphatic system itself to get that ship righted. It can never be perfect once you remove an organ, but we can get it as good as we can get it.
Yeah.
So I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer, that most of the gallbladders that are removed today should never have been removed. I have a friend who was in Cedars-Sinai a few months ago, and I told him specifically what to tell the doctors that he needed once they diagnosed him that his gallbladder had some stones in it. He went to ER, and I had not spoke to him until he got there, and they already had him on, different pain-killing drugs that kind of made him a little loopy. Over the course of a week, they told him they didn't have what I said.
Mm.
And they sent about 8 doctors in, every single one of them saying, we got to remove this right now. And on the end of the 7th day or so, he just checked himself out, and they said, well, you might want to take these. And it was exactly what I had said on day 1. So they were withholding that and said they didn't have it. And he's
Wow.
been fine ever since.
Wow.
So had they given it to him on day 1, within about 24 hours, he would have been fine. Gallbladder settled down. We get the liquids and juices all in there, that funky kind of liquid that's gone bad. We correct that, and then he's on his way. Gallbladder saved. Same for tonsils. Same for lymph nodes most of the time. Same for kidneys. Kidneys are one of my favorites.
Wow.
To save, yeah, to help save.
I don't know who Facebook user is, but they said, is she actually saying she can cure cancer? She said she doesn't cure anything
That's right.
with nutritional changes. Um, I've personally read and studied a lot about this topic. Um, and I've read some unbelievable cases that nutritional changes actually did get rid of the cancer.
Well, I have on my YouTube channel, which everything is The Body Can, CAN, and I actually put it up here so that if people wanted to zoom in, they could see it. But on my page, I actually have a video of a mom that I interviewed. She had come to me. She was in her 70s and her son was in his 40s. And he had end of life pancreatic cancer. He'd already been chemoed 2 or 3 times, radiated unending. They had removed organs and they had rearranged organs.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Then they came to me. And she said, please save my son's life. I guess we're getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if it's on yours or mine, but I can hear my voice back. Is that on your side?
Is it better?
Yes, there we go. There we go. So she came to me and we were aggressive. They implemented the protocol. They made the decision to go forward. I don't twist anybody's arm. All I say is, do you want to live? If they have the will to live, then I will treat them as if they are my own. Okay. And so I put together the protocol that I would take if it was me. And that way they know that I'm giving all I got. And so at day 30, they said his cancer that they had given him 3 weeks left to live was stopped. And at day 75, they had already run another battery of, I think, and she'll tell it in the interview. I did that interview years ago, so I don't remember the numbers, but somewhere around 15 or 20 different tests. And they said that the cancer was now walking backwards. So that interview is up on my YouTube page. I don't make a habit of doing interviews with different clients. I'll put up little testimonials and things on, my Instagram, the Body Can page, but I don't, because that's private. That battle that they're in is private, and it's not my right to put it up. That woman, the mother, was wanting to do that interview to get that out there, to give hope to people that have stage 4 pancreatic cancer, where they're told it's the deadliest cancer and it's not reversible. If you get it, you're done. That's not true. It's not true. And if you do the chemo, again, that's up to you. But this doctor and my sons never are going to ever allow that to touch our bodies ever.
So, and I hope I've handled the feedback. But again, I know so many people in the medical world that would do everything that they can to debunk what you're talking about. And I get it. I mean, it's I mean, it's life or death. My well, we have a family member. I won't say who, and if my wife wants to say it, she can. Mm-hmm. She's in the comments, but that has had cancer for off and on for the better part of 45 years. So much chemo and radiation that it's affected their eyesight and and are you saying that you're not saying in all cases, right?
That's correct. Sometimes people are to a point of no return, but look at what we did with him after at least 3 rounds of chemo, not 3 doses. It was 3 separate times where they said, you have pancreatic cancer. Okay, we do the chemo. Oh, you're cured of pancreatic cancer. Time goes by. Boop, there comes pancreatic cancer again. Here's what I would say to the naysayers or the ones in disbelief, okay? Find a cancer doctor that has 20 patients that lived. Good luck.
Wow.
In their whole career, good luck. Does it exist? Maybe, but that's going to be a real rare occurrence.
That's true.
Think about this. You're already sick. Your body needs help, and you go and punch it out and give it more licks to take it down. Now the brain's going, my God, why did you do this to me? I am trying to fight for your life, and now you just beat me up more. So the thing is don't beat it up more. You find someone like me or me, and then I look at your face, your fingernails, and your tongue. And with your aortic issue, I would for sure see blockage. in a very specific area in the tongue. And so I couldn't say, well, you have an aortic aneurysm. That's not what I do.
Right.
But I can say, okay, I see a stagnation of the blood here, a lack of oxygen, a lack of flow. We need to get this moving. Here, it's supposed to be this color, but, and if it is, then it's like a fast moving LA freeway. And if I see that blockage or that discoloration in that area where it's supposed to be a certain color,
right.
Go, okay, you maybe have a 3-car pileup on that LA freeway or a 8-car pileup. And so we address that with natural ways.
What are some of the natural ways besides diet?
Always nutrients. So yeah, some people get it totally wrong. For example, a lot of people that are sick, they'll go straight vegan, for example, only going to eat fruits and vegetables. Well, the plants cannot make minerals, so they're missing that. Essential fatty acids are critical to our diet. They're great for our heart, for our brain, for our eyesight, etc. And if they're going to go straight vegan, guess what? They're not going to probably get that either, or at least not at the level they're supposed to. You can get some from a seed, but a lot of it comes from a fish liver. And that's a good one to talk about, actually, because this is going to blow a lot of people's minds, what I'm about to say. And most people will not agree. I've been on Sean Hannity radio and talked about it, and I took all kinds of heat over it, and I don't care because what I'm saying is the truth, okay? A lot of people, when they're eating oils, so let's just go with fish liver, for example. Fish liver itself has to be processed a certain way. So the fish liver that I use, that my clients use, the fish are caught in cold Icelandic waters, then they're immediately flash frozen, and then the fish are taken into nitrogen rooms where even the bottles are sprayed out with nitrogen. There cannot be any oxygen in the processing of any oil, whether it's coconut, olive, almond, name them all. Right. There can be no oxygen. And if there is, then they turn rotten and rancid. And here's where people argue, oh, but coconut has so many benefits. Yes, it does. If you're cracking the coconut open right now and you're eating that oil in the next 15 to 30 minutes, it's perfect. Yeah, eat it all you want. It's fantastic. Put it on the skin, etc. But if it goes beyond that and it's exposed to oxygen, there's a gap between the oil itself and the top of the bottle. That's oxygen. And it's then oxidizing.
Right.
So to get that visual, take a bite out of an apple, set it on the counter. How's it look in 30 minutes? How's it look in 30 days? How's it look in 3 years?
Right.
Think about the oils that are sitting in your house or that people are putting on their skin and how old they are and that they're oxidized. And the skin is the largest organ in our body. So it's going to absorb it right in. Do you want a rotten and rancid oil? The number one reason, people are going to hit me for this one, and that's okay. I don't care. When you eat an egg, you get good cholesterol. But if you eat a rotten and rancid oil, you now have turned the good cholesterol into bad cholesterol. And that's why you get 2 different numbers. And most medical doctors do not understand that. So what am I saying? Eat a lot of eggs, get a lot of good cholesterol. The body is made up of about 20% cholesterol. The male and female anatomy is made up of 95% cholesterol. So when a doctor gives you a cholesterol lowering drug, then the downstairs turns off. And then what happens? Oh, I've got ED. I've got a prostate issue. And nobody understands why. And then wives are cooking for their husbands and they're saying, eat this chicken and I remove the skin and I remove the fat. We need all that stuff. And here we're just removing all these things and we think that it's okay. It's not. Our bodies need fats. Our bodies need good cholesterol. And good oil is good, but it has to be processed right. And if it's not, it's no good. So
is the answer, Tom Chenault is on here, by the way.
Hey, Tom.
Love you, Tom. So is the answer I need to go out back in my yard and start growing my own coconut trees.
That'd be great. It'd be great. If you want to do that, you certainly can.
Be like, hey, babe, go climb that tree and get me a fresh coconut.
Yeah. I mean, I live in Miami. I get coconuts fresh all the time. So
Right,
yeah.
right. My wife has a question. And by the way, anybody, you're okay with taking a
Sure.
few questions, aren't
Yeah,
you, from the
absolutely.
audience? So my wife says, how long would you say that olive oil is good? Is that the same time frame for facial oils like meadow foam?
Okay, I'm not aware of meadow foam, but I will say this. Um, if it's flash frozen, it has a little bit better of a shot. But the oils that are out there are not flash frozen for the most part. So when we're putting them on our skin or we're eating them, we're causing those blockages. And if you think about heart disease is the number one cause of death in this country, if I looked under somebody's tongue that had a heart issue, I'm going to see certain things, and it's a no brainer. They're on track to have heart disease or some kind of cardiovascular issue. And I'll see it like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, can you see that just from a picture?
Yes. And that's how I do all my appointments. Nobody comes to me. Nobody. Everybody sends me photos and I blow them up on my computers.
Wow.
And I'm zooming in and I'm looking for all the things that I need to see.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I put together a report and I send it off. And then I write down what the protocol would be. I don't force anybody to buy it. Everybody buys because they want to get better. So
Right.
there's no prescribing, there's no diagnosing. I can look at a body and see what's going on. That's my right to do. So
Right.
mhm.
Wow. What percentage of, well, we'll start with America. What percentage of the United States is actually consuming a healthy diet?
Oh, very small. So if you go into the grocery store, and I think most
I
people
knew you were going to say that, by the
yeah,
way.
if you go into the grocery store, they say that there is like one organic section typically.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where the healthy fruits and vegetables are. So your choices are pretty limited. I'm very big into eating meat. It's a really nice high protein. A lot of people want a lean meat. I like a fatty meat because we need those fats. So I don't pick any of that out, just eat. And
Wow.
so I'm a big meat eater. If you like high protein, cod is very good for that. But you want to make sure everything is clean. You want animals to be running around. When I see on a grocery store shelf that there's vegan eggs, I mean, they're just hitting that audience that's going to be all typically sunken in, and their skin is going to be falling down and become really crepey because they're not getting the good fats. They're not getting the essential fatty acids. They're eliminating minerals out of their diet. So typically, because you can't get it from a plant. You can't. They don't make it.
Wow.
Right.
There's a Netflix documentary called What the Health. Have you seen that?
Okay.
Have
Good
you
title.
seen it?
I don't know if I did or not. I'm not sure. I've watched some of those, and then sometimes they're dry, and so I got to go.
Yeah, it's really about why you should not eat meat, like the whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger's on there, and all these other, you know, strong men, and so I went vegan for a while, and it was causing some other issues for me. So it's very, I mean, look, there's so much information um, in so many different directions that it's really hard, at least from my perspective. There's my buddy, Dr. Laura. She's a nurse practitioner. Just hung up with her a little bit ago. Um, but it's so difficult to know. And let me ask this question, because it is difficult to know what's right for me, but is it different for everyone? I mean, is it individualized?
I mean, people can go down different routes of like vegan, but they got to make sure that they're getting minerals some way, shape, or form. And they also have to make sure that they're getting cholesterol. So in my breakfast alone, I'll eat 4 eggs, just 3 to 4 eggs just for breakfast, because I want my brain to stay sharp. I want my downstairs to stay on. I want the cholesterol that's in my spinal column to be there. I want it to stay. I want to be strong and healthy. I'm 55. I don't have wrinkles. I don't dye my hair. Whereas, unfortunately, 100% of my friends do and have been for over 20 years, because they're under nutrified. They've got malabsorption. They don't listen to me when I say you need to remove that out of your diet. They just charge forward, and that's okay. Everybody has their right to choose. I choose to be healthy and to eliminate those things, because at the end of the day, if they're not doing you any good and they're aging you, what's the point?
Right. Right.
It's not like I lead a boring life. I don't. And I eat very well. So, yeah.
My friend Zena on here says, will the labels say flash frozen? Is that different than cold pressed?
They may say flash frozen. I can't think of any label that I've ever seen flash frozen on. The fish oil I use is, so if anybody wants those links, they can just reach out to me. I have a phone number there if they can see it. Can you see that? I don't know. It's probably
no, you can't see it until you hold it up and I give you
I'll
full screen.
Yeah, okay.
So everybody watching, if you want to screenshot that.
Yeah, screenshot, and then you have all my info.
Thebodycan.com, that's your website, right?
Yeah, and the reason it's the body can is because the body can heal itself. It's based on my experience that the body can heal itself if it's given what it needs. So hopefully that was good enough. And, it's in my opinion and my experience that if you were not born with it, that it is 100% reversible. Now, if you were in an accident and you got titanium put in or something, we work around that. If you had a gallbladder removed, we work around that. And most MDs out there don't tell a person who had a gallbladder that for the rest of their life that there's something that they have to do. And I run into that all the time. And people that don't have a gallbladder, then because they didn't do that, then they get other issues, whether it's in the liver, the digestive tract, etc. And a lot of times they're still eating the culprits of what caused them to lose that gallbladder in the first place, which again, had they found me first, we would have probably saved that.
Let me ask you this. Is it possible, I'm just throwing this out, is it possible that the culprit, you said a lot of times they're still eating the culprits.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the culprits are labeled as healthy by other?
Oh yeah. Walk through any health food store. Okay, I'm going to give you a mind blower. Are you ready?
Oh God.
By the way, I did want to say something to the Schwarzenegger comment, and
yeah,
he can throw up all the bodybuilders and stuff. I can throw just as many that are meat eaters, that are behemoths, or guys that are eating 20 or 25 eggs a day that are behemoths. So that's just master manipulation, really. So what they're doing, they want us to, eat more bugs. I don't know. I'm not doing that. So I'm going to
I had Dr. John Jakewish on the show, and he's got 1.5 million followers on Instagram. This dude is all about the carnivore diet, and he's 50 something, I don't know, and ripped. I mean, ripped. So
it's high protein. That's why.
Yeah.
It's very high protein.
Yeah.
You still have to do things within balance. Okay, so I was going to talk about the culprits.
Yeah, the culprits. And are some of them labeled healthy by other experts?
Yeah. And in fact, a lot of bodybuilders don't know that this is a bad one. So in the diet, you have to remove things that cause inflammation and that are very destructive to the gut. So wheat, barley, rye, oatmeal, and buckwheat. Those are really bad for us. And think about every health food store you go into, and there's certain bread guys that are out there that are bragging about how they have 100% whole wheat, etc. Well, as a naturopathic doctor with an expertise at looking at the face, fingernails, and tongue, I will see the large and small intestine in disarray on the face. I will see the whole digestive tract in disarray on the tongue. And so I don't even need to be told that you're eating wheat, barley, rye, or oatmeal. I take a look at your tongue and I know, like that. So go ahead.
I said, what?
Yeah, I know. And if I have a client who tells me, yeah, I'm kind of eating, I will look at their tongue, because I look at my clients every 30 days. I stay in touch with my clients so that we're getting actual results. So every 30 days, they'll send me a fresh set of photos, and I can look to see, because I know what the healing looks like. So I also know what it looks like if they're cheating the system. So, yeah. And so if you think about bodybuilders, they eat a lot of oatmeal. Even if the oatmeal says it's gluten-free, it has the evil twin brother in it called gliadin. Have you ever even heard of that? Nobody talks about that.
Nope, never heard of it.
Just as destructive as gluten to the digestive system. So even if you think you're eating a clean oatmeal, you still have to nix the oatmeal. It's no good for our digestive tracts.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying no gluten?
Correct.
For anybody?
Listen, I went along my whole life eating gluten until my 40s. I'm now 55. It was somewhere around 47 or 58. One day I just hit a brick wall, and I had eaten a bowl of oatmeal and was doubled over for about 2.5 days. So everybody does come to a breaking point, or we'll just say about 95% of the population comes to a breaking point. And even if they're not feeling that, they're probably, they don't realize it's that, but maybe the gallbladder's in trouble, or maybe they're getting acid indigestion or heartburn, etc. And they're seeing and feeling antagonizing feelings, but they don't know what it's coming from. So then the MD says, well, just go get some Tums. Wrong answer. Completely wrong answer. The stomach is supposed to be a 1.2 to a 1.3 pH. So when you go get a Tums, what are you throwing at it? You're throwing a high alkaline tab into a spot that's supposed to be super acidic. So what we want you to do is throw more acid on the fire. Put lots of salt in the diet. Do you know the Japanese eat the equivalent of a salt shaker a day? That's about 12. Yeah, that's
what?
It's about 12 to 15 grams of salt per day. The American diet is 3 to 5 if we're lucky. Wow. Might be 1. Wow. Some are none, because their MDs told them cut all your salt.
So Laura had said, would other things like dehydration, people who vape, and etc., change mucous membranes, not just an allergic look?
Well, if they have mucus going on, I think that's where you're getting to. If they have mucus going on, I'm going to see that. And there's a lot more bad gut bacteria that are in the gut. And so we want to level that out. And that's pretty simple to do. I've had some people that on the tongue, they show something that's as thick as a carpet, like a shag rug. They got a terrible mucus problem. Can also be respiratory. So it's where I have to look to see. It's not like it's just a one and done. Oh, that's what it is for sure. So I do look at other signs to see if it's, respiratory in general, if it's the lungs. But that can be removed, and you do have to remove it. I'm very healthy, but I just went through a cycle where I was removing it. And every day for about 3 months, I woke up with, a clogged up nose, and I just, cleared that out. And then after 3 months, it just, done. Wow. And yeah, so everybody goes through that. We get it. It comes, goes. You just have to take care of it. And a medical doctor for that particular issue is going to say, you need an antibiotic, which is the wrong answer, because you can do it naturally and leave the good guys in there. And so that's what we focus on.
Jeez, this is amazing to me. Actually, it's incredible. My wife says rye. I always thought that was a good option. What type of bread can you eat? Sourdough?
I don't like sourdough, even though, okay, it is delicious. I'll give them that. But, and they say that the glutens get killed off in the process. I don't necessarily believe that. So you're taking a risk if you do. I love almond crusts. Cassava flour is very good. So we have been brainwashed into thinking that wheat, barley, rye, and oatmeal are the only grains out there. It's not true. There's a lot. Just go to the Sprouts carries a lot of different lines. I have no vested interest in Sprouts, but I just know that I look at their flowers every once in a while to see what they have, and I've seen that. So you just got to look. They're out there.
Is there's one humongous chain. We won't mention their name because I don't need any lawsuits.
Okay.
But there's a very, very, very big chain known for carrying wholesome foods,
Yes.
right?
Got it. Got
Um,
it.
uh,
A lot not. I know exactly who. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
is that just is it true or not true that they're all of their foods are healthy and natural?
They're absolutely not all at all. So I would say that, I think we're coming into a springtime period. I highly suggest everybody grow food in their yards this year. Even if it's just if you're in a high rise apartment, plant herbs, get some tomatoes growing, straight vertical. I think everybody should be growing their own food with no pesticides. With no pesticides.
So are you saying pesticides are not healthy to ingest?
Oh, you know what I tell my clients? If they don't buy organic, you might as well just go down to Home Depot, grab the chemical off, and just, that's what we're getting when we eat a.
Uh-oh. What happened? She froze. That's a very cool look. Can you guys still hear me? Can everybody hear me? I want to make sure it's not me. Okay. Okay. Laura says, thank you. Thank you. Laura says, so hard here for us Northies for organic. So maybe Randy's computer died or something and she'll pop back on. For now, I'm going to remove there. It's actually, she disappeared. So she'll probably be back on, hopefully, because this is really, really interesting stuff. And I have a very important question that I want to ask her. Are there any questions that you guys have? So when she does come back on, assuming she does, are there any questions that you have that I can ask her? Hey, Carrie Carter, I see you there. Joaquin, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Okay, even organic, though, is not totally free of pesticides. You have to grow it yourself, and then you have to buy heirloom seeds that are non GMO. Yes. Um, Laura says, I think most people who eat organic or did have longevity, at least with my patients, like the real farmers, are living. Yeah, I believe that to be true. 1000%. Facebook user. Oh, Skip. Hey, Skip. I would like to know if that pancreatic cancer client of hers is still alive. So would I. So let's hold on. Let's see. No, she's I'm gonna guess that her computer died and she's plugging it in and she's gonna come back on. Um, that is a great question, Skip. I agree with my wife. And what does she think of dentistry? Great questions. I want to ask her. I hope she comes back. Let me see if I can get a hold of her. Let me just see if I can get a hold of her. Um, 1 minute. No, you're not. Did your computer die? Oh, wow. Well, I could put you on speakerphone and we could just finish up with you on the phone. How about that? Because there are questions. People have questions. So hold on. All right, we're going to try this on. This is the first time I've ever done this. Speakerphone. There we go. Yeah, you work on getting it to come back, and I've got you on speakerphone for now.
Okay, outstanding.
Okay, can everybody hear Dr. Randi on my speakerphone? Just give me a yes or a no.
Testing. Can they hear me?
I don't know yet. Let's see. Yes, they can hear you. Hallelujah.
Okay.
All right,
Perfect.
it's a bit low, but okay, is what people are saying. So let me see if I can turn up the sensitivity on this microphone. Okay. So questions are, somebody asked, hold on, where is it? My goodness, so many comments. Somebody asked if they want to know if that pancreatic cancer patient that you were talking about earlier, if they are still alive.
Okay, I have not been in touch with that person, the mother, for many years.
Oh.
And okay, so I don't have an update on anything of that man's life.
Okay.
So that I don't know. That was back in 2000 and I'm going to say around 17.
Okay. So the answer is she doesn't know. But it sounds like that person was on the path to recovery.
Yes.
At least. Okay.
Yep.
So let's see. Sandy Archer asks, what do you think of dentistry?
Okay, well, there's certain processes that they do that I really don't buy into. When they want to do root canals and things like that, I would probably try to go another route first.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Once you open up the body, it's a whole different ballgame.
I have a friend that was an OBGYN for, I don't know, 35 years. And he literally said the same exact thing to me. Once you open up the body surgically or otherwise, it becomes a different game.
That's correct. Yeah.
Let's see. Are there any other questions anybody has in the audience? Laura, my friend, Dr. Laura said, I think she works with a lot of geriatric patients. That's primarily what she works with. And she said, I think most people who eat organic or did have longevity, at least with my patients, like the real farmers, are living plus 80 and look great.
I agree with that. When there's not the chemical, and this is a good topic because I love working with geriatrics because they actually understood that the oils that were introduced on the scene, and think about everybody going to these coffee shops, I'll have this drink and put the almond milk in it and the coconut milk in it. All those oils are rotten and rancid. So if you look at, so I'm 55, my parents are around 75, and their parents so my grandparents all lived to be 80s, 90s, and over 100 when you go back in those other generations. And what were they eating? They weren't vegan. They were eating meat. They were eating the garden. They were eating tallow or lard. That's what they were cooking with. They weren't cooking with all these bad, rotten, and rancid oils.
Right. You're correct. Makes sense. So let's see. My wife says we use only almond milk because of lactose intolerance. Is that bad too?
Yeah, almond milk, no good. Almond milk, coconut milk. What else is out there? Cashew milk. If you're lactose intolerant, try another animal. Go to goat milk. I don't love goat milk, but some people, do. No, there's other animals that produce milk if you need milk, not just a cow like we've been trained. And the problem really was never the dairy milk. It was the factory farming where the cows are being shot up with every kind of shot known to man.
Right.
And that's not healthy for us.
Right. Right. Well, I'll tell you what, I would like to have you back on when you're her internet went out. She has no internet.
Maybe it's coming back, but I'm not. No, it is not.
It's not. Well, we're at the hour anyway. So listen, Dr. Randi, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this wisdom. Everybody that's watching, you can learn more by going to www.thebodycan.com. And that's your website, correct?
Yes.
So,
and if they just want to call, they can, and we will retrieve all the calls. It's like a voice message. Okay. They want to listen to that recording. 844-275-1056.
There you go. Say that one more time.
844-275-1056.
There you go. So if you guys call that number, leave a message, and you'll get back to them yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely. If we're overwhelmed, my assistant Julie always hops in there. We've got great people that work with me, and we always get everybody taken care of. Even if you got to wait a week, sometimes 2 weeks. I did a show one time where we had about 4,500 callers in a 7-day time frame. So.
Well, I'm not Sean Hannity, so I don't know that you'll get that many. but hey, you know what? You're amazing, and I would love to have you back on anytime. And because this, I mean, look, if you don't have health, you have nothing. Like
completely.
That's it. Nothing.
Have you ever heard the saying, you spend all your health chasing wealth, and then you end up spending all your wealth chasing your health?
So
get a balance now.
So true. Wow. So true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved it. You're great to talk with on air, so it just made it super easy. And thank you to all the listeners and all the great questions too.
Thank you. This has been awesome. We'll have you back on again soon. Dr. Randi, thank you so much. And I'll call you back here in just a few minutes after I wrap up the show.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. That was Dr. Randi Shannon. Sorry, her internet went out. This has been an amazing show. And hey, leave some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. If you loved this show, then share it out to everybody. If you hated this show, share it out to everybody. But just, thank you to everybody that's been on here. We've had a lot of people in and out. So thank you. And we will see you all very, very soon. Have an awesome day. And thank you again to Dr. Randi Shannon. Go over to www.thebodycan.com and we will see you all later. Bye-bye.